want to share with you 6 tips on how to write SOPs that no one else is talking about. Nobody else, I've never seen this information anywhere, no one else talks about it. Number 1. After you write an SOP, ask a teammate from a different department or a friend to go over these steps. So tip number 5 is keep your SOPs updated. And tip number 6, it's a bonus tip if you want to, but it's really important. We'll look into everything you need to know about standard operating procedures. And in fact, I will leave you a document here that you can download, that you can share with your team, and it spells out the SOPs for most major roles in any company. I asked our clients at Higher Training VA, I said, what do you need to make sure that you have a successful relationship with your virtual assistant? And the number 1 most common answer is, I have no idea what to train them on. I have no idea how to show them my processes. I need standard operating procedures because I'm a solopreneur. I do things, but I don't know if my way of doing things are right, and I just need some help with that. And I hear you. I said, okay, that's very valid. I understand that because when you bring someone on board, you want to make sure that you're on the same page. And of course, you want to minimize the risks and miscommunications. So today we will look into everything you need to know about standard operating procedures. And in fact, I will leave you a document here that you can download, that you can share with your team. And it spells out the SOPs for most major roles in any company. So you're welcome. But before you take the SOPs, let's also talk about how you can customize it so you can get the most out of them for your company and for your needs. Let's go. Standard operating procedures, or SOPs, are detailed steps on how you run things in your company. So why are SOPs important anyway? Well, the number 1 thing is they are helpful to transfer knowledge from one person to the next person, especially if you hire someone new. So that way you make the onboarding of the new person much easier. The second reason why you need SOPs is because if you ever need to take a vacation, or if someone lives in the company and you need to bring someone new on board, the company still runs smoothly, even in your absence or throughout all these changes that might happen in your company. You have a central place where you keep the SOPs, so whatever the situation is, your team can know where to find the information and make sure the business continues. And the third reason why you need SOPs is if you ever want to sell your company or bring in investors, you will need SOPs to transfer the business over. So simply put, SOPs are the first step to start scaling your business because you can start delegating responsibilities to other people, which free up your time so you can take your business to the next level and do more tasks that are relevant to the CEO position. The good thing is that you already have a standard way of doing things. You might not have put it pen to paper yet, but there is a standard way of how you run things in your company on a daily basis. You have a standard way of onboarding new clients. You have a standard way of getting in touch with prospects. You have a standard way of doing your marketing. You have a standard way of processing the payment, whatever it is, right? You get the idea. There's a lot more. There are a lot of processes that you do every day, maybe without you even realizing that you're doing them. So then you might ask yourself, there's too much information. I have so many processes. There's so many things to do. Which SOP should I have first? Which one should I delegate first to a virtual assistant? Our recommendation would be start with the ones that are repeatable, that are easy to replicate, and that you can easily train on. So start delegating small because eventually as the person grows with you, you will be able to delegate them more and have more complex SOPs. So remember, there's a file that you can download that's going to show you step-by-step a lot of SOPs that you can use in your company right away. It's going to show you for tasks like email management, calendar management, a lot in real estate. It's so much, so make sure to download it. But before you do that, you want to customize the SOP to your specific needs, to what your company needs. So I'm going to share with you a framework on how to write an SOP and how to customize it. So think of the following. The number 1 thing is, what will trigger to activate this SOP? Basically, what is it? Did a client just opt in? Did a prospect say yes and they signed a contract? Was a webinar created? Was an email sent? What's triggering the activation of this SOP? How will the VA know when to start executing the steps? Number 2 is, what tools do you need to complete this SOP? So before you're delegating this, think about what access do I need to give to my virtual assistant so they can easily do it without asking me for access all the time. So think about this ahead of time. Number 3 is actions. You put step by step how you want the process to take place. So take a look at our SOPs. If there's anything that does not go with your company, with the way you do things, you can take it out, you can edit it, you can add yours, but make sure to check it and make it yours. And number 4 is delivery. Where will the VA store this SOP? How will they give you the outcome of this? What should the outcome look like? What is the metric? What do you want out of this? If it's a project, where will it be stored? How will they communicate it to you that it's done? What shows the ending or the completion of this SOP. So after you completed the standard operating procedures, make sure you have a central place where you store it. This is going to be very helpful because everyone on the team needs to know where to find it. There are numerous programs out there that help you do this complete SOP, store it, and so on. But you can use something very simple. You can use something as simple as Google Drive. You can have a folder with each of the SOP. Just very important, make sure to date them. So that's another tip. Maybe date the SOPs. Who's the last person who worked on it and on what date? So you know how old that has been and you can review them later. But keeping files in Google format is a great way to distribute it amongst your team members. Now you can keep it in PDF format, which means that people will not be able to edit them. And I would usually give this format to everyone on the team. So you can't edit. This is the way we do things here. Do not add more steps. Do not take out any more steps. By accident, some people might delete the file or whatnot. So keep it in PDF format so they can edit it. But the team leaders or the people that maybe have more senior positions, they have access to an editable version so they can make adjustments as necessary. So now I want to share with you 6 tips on how to write SOPs that no one else is talking about. Nobody else, I've never seen this information anywhere. No one else talks about it. Okay, so 6 tips. Number 1, after you write an SOP, ask a teammate from a different department or a friend to go over these steps. Now, why is this important? You want to ask someone who has no familiarity with the steps, with what this is about. You want to see if they can easily understand it. If you bring someone new on board, they might not know the way you do things. They might have some experience from their previous company, but it might be completely different from your way of doing things. So by testing this with someone who is not familiar with the process and seeing what gaps are you finding, what missing information is there, you can tweak it, you can perfect it, and then you know when you have a new person on board, it will be very easy for them to follow these steps. Tip number 2 is make it foolproof. And what I mean by that is for every step of the SOP, you can record a little Loom video and you can attach it to every step. So Loom is phenomenal for this. I really like it. You can blur some information, you can edit it. You can use Zoom for this as well, but Zoom is limited. Loom is a Google Chrome extension. It's free. It's super easy to use, very intuitive. So for every step, record a short video. It can be under 1 minute and then attach it to the step. So let's say your SOP says when a client signs the contract, you send this email and you use this template. Well, record the screen and show where you go, where you find this template really quick, and then attach that video to every step. It is taking a little bit of time up front, but think about how much time you're going to save in the long run. So when a new person or when a VA will have some questions, where do I find the template? How do I go about this? I know you mentioned this in the training, but I forgot. They will just watch that quick video and they know exactly where to find it and how to take care of that step. Okay, tip number 3, leverage AI. We just spoke about Loom, but I don't think a lot of people understand how you can use Loom and AI in a perfect combination. Now, Loom, what I like about this is that it also has a transcript version. So here's what you can do. Instead of recording every step, so this is another way of running the whole SOPs. Instead of recording each step and then attaching it to little videos to every step, you can record yourself walking through the whole process from beginning till the very end. And now when you record yourself, you narrate. As you go through your screen, you narrate everything that you're doing. So you go here, you do this, you click on here. So the more information you have, the better it's going to be. Then when you're done going through the process, Loom will give you a transcription of what you just said. You can copy that transcription and put it into ChatGPT and say something like, based on this text, create an SOP for me. And the more information you put in the transcription, the better ChatGPT will be able to help you. It will create step-by-step instructions, where to click, what to do, where to go, based on the information you just gave them. So you can create an SOP very easily by you going through this whole thing. Tip number 4, what if you don't want to use videos? That's perfectly fine as well. If you don't want to use videos, you can use a tool called Tango. The website is tango.us. It's a Chrome extension. Also, it's free, it's very easy to use, and what it does is it starts recording your screen as you're going through a process. It records what you're clicking on, it highlights the area that you're clicking on, and everything that you do on the left side, you will see step by step on exactly what you did with examples. And then at the end, you can download this information. Before you download it, you can also remove some steps if they're not relevant. You can share this with your team electronically, sharing the link, or you can actually download it as PDF. Has a lot of functionalities. So Tango.us or Tango as the Chrome widget is phenomenal for that. I will make sure to include this link in the description. Actually, everything that I'm talking about here, all the links, they will be in the description, so make sure to check it out. So tip number 5 is keep your SOPs updated. Remember earlier when I said have a date so you know when you work on them? This is going to be very helpful when you review SOPs. In fact, I would recommend maybe review SOPs every quarter, and if there are any changes, make sure to put them there, because there's nothing more frustrating of you spending so much time working on these perfect SOPs and perfect processes, and then they're not relevant a couple of months down the road. So make sure to review them every single time, not just to make sure that this is still the best way to do things, but it's the only way you do things. There are a lot of changes that can happen in a couple of months. I mean, if you look just 1 year ago, we didn't have AI to be as optimized. Did we have it last year ago? I don't know when we started implementing AI, but it wasn't what it is today. And right now, I don't know any businesses that don't leverage artificial intelligence. And if you haven't updated your standard operating procedures, make sure to include this as a step if this is now part of your process. So review your SOPs regularly on a quarterly basis, again, to make sure that this is still the way you do things or if this is the best way to do things. And tip number 6, it's not really a tip, but it's a bonus tip if you want to, but it's really, really, really important. Now the question might be, okay, look, I don't have SOPs. Does that mean I'm not ready to hire someone yet? This is a very common misconception that you have to have it all figured out before you bring someone else on board. And yes, ideally you want to have something, because when you bring someone on board, it's going to be easier if you do have standard operating procedures, but you don't have to. Because look, when you hire someone, even if you have SOPs, you're still going to have to show that person the ropes. You're still going to have to show them how it's done or walk them through a little bit of training. You might as well record that information, record the training, record it, how you're doing, and then share this recording with your new person, with a virtual assistant or with the employee. There will be some gaps. Make sure your VA has access to the recording, and there will be some gaps. They will come back to you. They will ask you questions. And in a couple of months, when you think that this new person completes the task up to your expectations, they got the handle of it, they're doing it well, then that VA can actually write the SOP down the road. And in fact, I would say use your team, leverage your team to create SOPs, because at some point they will be more of an expert in their departments than you are. This is definitely happening in my department. When I was a solopreneur, when I started this business on my own, I was doing everything by myself. I had my way of doing things, my standard way, which I taught the new people that came into the company. By now, it's been years. We have tweaked things, we have improved things, we have added things, we have analyzed, see what's working, what's not working. So right now, the SOP that I had is so different than the SOP that we're currently using. And the current one has been put together by my team, because they're day in and day out in their department doing these tasks. They understand the gaps, they understand what's working, what's not working, and they tweak it and they improve on it. So they make it perfect. So you will leverage your team. You don't have to have everything figured out. You don't have to have everything perfect right now. Don't let that stop you from bringing help in your company, because business loves speed. And if the more you delay, the more there will be other people who are not waiting, and they will beat you at this game. So the short answer is no, you don't have to wait to have perfect SOPs before bringing people on board, but I want to make it easier for you. It helps when you have operating procedures written down. So make sure to download this file that I mentioned here. It has the operating procedures. Let's see, what roles do I have there? Email management, calendar management, a lot for real estate, because we service a lot of real estate companies. So anything from cold calling, follow-up specialists, to acquisitions, to transactions, to dispositions, everything is there step by step what that person needs to do. So if you have an administrative assistant, executive assistant, or someone working for a real estate company, make sure to check it out, because it is everything you need to have. So again, check the links in the description. Everything we talked about today will be linked there. And if you ever need to get in touch with us, let's do that. Let's talk about how you can hire the best virtual assistant for your company, so you can step out of the nitty-gritty, step out of the busy work, and focus on more tasks that are relevant to the CEO position. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining me today. As always, a pleasure coming here in front of you and bringing you value. And as always, I look forward to the next time. Bye.